Good morning, students. Welcome back after a short winter's break. I hope you all are fit, fine, and energetic for this class. But before commencing my class, I want to wish you all a very happy and prosperous new year. Today is 4th January 2021 and day is day 1. So, students, take out your book. Today, we are going to start a new lesson that is a poem, lesson number 10, a tragic story. So, students, by this word tragic, what do you mean? So, the meaning of tragic is causing or characterized by extreme distress or sorrow. That is, in Hindi, dukhad. A tragic story means dukhad kahani, right? This poem is written by William Makepeace Thackeray. William Makepeace Thackeray was an English poet, novelist, author, and illustrator. He was born in India. The poem, A Tragic Story, is a humorous poem which revolves around a foolish man. Throughout the poem, the poet laughs at this man who does not have any practical knowledge but uses his theoretical knowledge and does foolish things. So, students, let's proceed towards this poem. First of all, I'll read the stanza and then I'll explain that and then I'll continue like that only. There lived a man in days of yore, and he a handsome pigtail wore, but wondered much and sorrowed more because it hung behind him. In the first stanza, the poet describes that once upon a time there lived a man with a handsome, beautiful pigtail. So, pigtail means a tail kind of hairstyle in which hairs are braided and tied, and as you can see in the picture in your book on page number 97. So, long ago, there lived a sage, a man, sage means sadhu, and he had a beautiful pigtail. He wondered much about his pigtail's position and was worried more as it hung behind him. But he always wondered. Wondered means he was always curious and sorrowed. Sorrowed means distress, sad. So he was always curious and was always sad. And why he was sad? He was sad as the pigtail hung behind him all the time. The man thinks a lot and he was deeply sorrowed about his hairs. About and because of this he was in great sorrow. Then come to the next stanza. He mused upon this curious case and saw he had changed the pigtail's place and have it hanging at his face, not dangling there behind him. In the second stanza, the poet says that the man was mused. He was absorbed in the thoughts that curious case about the unusual case, and he promised to himself that he will change the position of the tail. He will change the position of the tail from back to front. He thought that he would bring the tail at his face because he don't want the tail to dangle. Dangle means surging or swinging. Sorry, it's swinging. So, swinging or hanging, it is, or hanging at the back. So, students, here you can see that the man wants to do this impossible task. He thought about this curious case and promised that he would change the position of the pigtail. He would like to have it as at his face and not swinging loosely behind him. Okay, now moving ahead. One day he said, "The mystery I have found, I'll turn me round." He turned him round, but still it hung behind him. In the third stanza, the poet tells that one day he said to himself that the mystery I have found means he got his solution. He got a solution. The solution for changing the position of his tail. The solution that he would take rounds and rounds so that the position of the tail would change, but still the tail hung back. So this solution also failed. The foolish man tried to do the thing which is impossible. As in the beginning, I told you that it is a humorous poem, and this man is doing foolish acts again and again. So, this man insists that he has found a solution to change the position of his pigtail. He said that he would turn him round, and so he turns him round, but still it hung steadily throughout the day. Even though he turns continuously the whole day, it still hangs firmly behind him. Now let's move to the last stanza and find out what happens in the end. Then round and round and out and in, all day the puzzle man did spin, and though he twist and twill and tack, the pigtail hangs behind him. In the fourth and the last stanza, the poet tells or describes us that the man was confused. He took so many rounds in a respected manner. Sorry, it is in a repeated manner. He was very puzzled. He was unable to understand why this solution is not working. He twisted himself, he turned around. He twill means taking circular round, and round. Means he did every possible thing, then too he failed. His all hard work all gone in vain. So now we can say that he failed in changing the position of the pigtail. It was still behind him. Though his efforts were not slackened and though he twisted twirled intact, the poet expresses his sorrow in a humorous way and says that though he tried his best to change the position of his pigtail, it remained faithfully behind him. So, at last, I want to summarize this poem. Once upon a time, there lived a man. He had a handsome pigtail. He was worried and pondered over his pigtail's place. He wanted to change its place. He wanted it hanging at his face. He didn't like it hanging there behind him. So he turned right and left and round about, up and down and in and out, but it still hung behind him. However, he tried his efforts and each efforts were in vain. But he didn't slack in his efforts. Nevertheless, his pigtail hung faithfully behind him. I hope you have understood this poem, and if not, just feel free to ask me. Read this poem twice, search meaning of the difficult words, and learn two stanzas of this poem. Do take care, students. Have a good day. Stay safe, stay healthy.